Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Strege, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
Okay, Dave, that's it. Screw you and your college flunkies. I've had enough of this from you and from everyone else. I know what you guys are trying to do. Break me down, drive me out of the force. Well, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a lame prank like this to get Curtis Mooney to throw in his badge, so fuck you. Over.
Did you miss me? I guess not.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. I am your host, David Strege, and here I have another video pickup video for you of films that I have picked up over time. This is probably going to be like the last month and a half, maybe two. But the previous video before this video was like the first punch of it all. And so I wanted to go on and show you some more that I have picked up over time. So the first one I wanted to show you was another Dustin Ferguson film. He's often known as Dark Infinity, which is kind of a music name for him. But found footage of fear. It says, "Death awaits you in the final frame." A young woman searching for her friend encounters a crazed maniac in the basement of an old house. After she is attacked, we are subjected to a sick and depraved collection of home movies. So this is from the creators of VHS Violence. And I guess it comes an all-new shocking piece of video carnage, not for the faint of heart. So, there we have it. Found footage of fear. Next, I found this on eBay. I believe for 99 cents plus shipping. I thought it was interesting because this director, it says from the twisted mind of Alan Watkins, 14 frightening films. And I found it interesting that he is a filmmaker from North Carolina because my one of my best friends in filmmaking is Dane Kyle, who lives in North Carolina. And I guess this says 14 frightening films, including 5 bonus films. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So Blood Clown, Campfire Massacre, Dead Talker, Ghost Guys, Legacy, monthly visitor, Onirodinia, out of gas, the GPS, the hit, there's a monster in my room, the shot, the stalker, and watch your back. All ranging from 2001 to 2013. And they can be anywhere from 15 minutes to 10 minutes, 3 minutes to 4 minutes to 6 minutes to 4 minutes to 9 minutes to 2 minutes to 2 minutes to 2 minutes to 2 minutes to 30 seconds to 1 minute to 4 minutes. So, thought that was an interesting pickup. Next, this is another Dollar Tree pickup, magnet releasing. You might have seen some of those pickups in the previous. It says this is an apocalyptic romp, rollicking, nastily funny, the New York Times. And it's from the acclaimed novel by J.G. Ballard. And the film is directed by Ben Wheatley. Tom Hiddleston, Jeremy Irons, Sienna Miller, Luke Evans, and Elizabeth Moss star in this film. And Tom Hiddleston stars as Dr. Robert Lang, the newest resident of a luxurious apartment to a high-tech skyscraper whose lofty location places him amongst society's upper class. Lang quickly settles in and meets the other tenants. Charlotte, played by Sienna Miller, bohemian single mother. Wilder, played by Luke Evans, a charismatic documentarian who lives with his pregnant wife, Helen, played by Elizabeth Moss, and Mr. Royal, played by Jeremy Irons, the building's enigmatic architect. Life seems like paradise to the solitude-seeking Lang. But as power outages become more frequent and building flaws emerge, mainly on the lower floors, social strata begins to crumble and the building descends into a class war. And this was very interesting because it is a film that is about an apocalypse that happens inside of a building. Next, I have Red Summer. Scream, Run, Die. Directed by Charles Joffrey. A group of friends travel to Mallorca to enjoy their idyllic holiday. Unfortunately, their search for sun, beaches, and fun only leads them to the most inhospitable place of the island. This will be the beginning of their nightmare. So there we have Red Summer. Next, I have a Big Lots pickup. This is called, this says it's from the studio that brought us Train to Busan. And this is called Rampant. It's from Wellgo USA. Yes, and not sure who the director is. I guess it says Game of Thrones meets 28 Days Later, says the Houston Chronicles. A darkness looms over ancient Korea. Murderous creatures known as night demons have overrun the country. Returning from a long imprisonment abroad, Prince Ganglim discovers that it will take the strength of his entire kingdom to stop the bloody rampage spreading across the nation in this fresh new take on zombie horror from the studios that brought you Train to Busan. So, there we have Rampant. Next, I have a Shudder original starring Jesse Williams, Jordan Brewster, and Jay Baruchel. It says it's got the title of Random Acts of Violence. And the film is directed by Jay Baruchel. So, comic book creator Todd Walkley, his wife, assistant, and best friend are heading to New York City Comic-Con. When bad things start to happen, people start getting killed. It soon becomes clear that a crazed fan is using his Slasher Man comic as inspiration for the killings. And as the bodies pile up, and Todd's friend becomes victims themselves, he is forced to face the killer and put an end to his notorious comic once and for all. So here we have Random Acts of Violence. Next, I have, also from Big Lots, a film from E1 Entertainment Distribution, film called Red House. The film is directed by Gregory Avallone, and it reads as follows. After inheriting a house from his paternal grandfather, Shelby Gordon, played by Kate French, travels with a group of friends to the remote woods of Copperhead County to visit the property. This weekend getaway, however, quickly turns into a nightmare when, one by one, each falls victim to torture, madness, and murder. So here we have Red House. I have not even opened that yet. Next, I have Return to Splatter Farm, which is directed by Mark Polonia and Jeff Kirkendale, with Wild Eye releasing and Polonia Brothers Entertainment. 30 years after the infamous Death Farm murders in rural Pennsylvania, serial killing is a season once more. A young woman and her friends descend upon the farm to party after discovering that she has inherited the land. But soon after, the strange occurrences and brutal murders begin again. This shocking sequel to the 1987 SOV cult classic, Splatter Farm. I picked this up from Amazon. Next, I'm not positive whether I have actually gone on about this film yet or not, but here I have Pagan Warrior, starring Peter Cosgrove, Shayla Alvarez, Daryl Griggs. They never fought a greater threat. It says Horror Screams Video Vault. This film is directed by Louisa Warren and Nick Minaj, put out by Champ Dog Films with Blackwater Studios under ITN distribution. Here I have Pagan Warrior. Next is a film called Prometheus Trap. It's a film directed by Andrew Belware. It is put out on distribution by Phase 4 Films. And it says one crew's quest to save mankind. The film says as follows. A space crew diverts from their course to investigate a missing cargo vessel carrying a devastating time weapon. But when disaster strikes, the crew quickly finds themselves running out of time, and if they fail, humanity shall fall. So there we have Prometheus Trap. Next, I have a film I'm not sure I've gone on about, but it's directed by Brett Piper. It's called Cyclops, a parallel universe crawling with an eye. In this twisted tale of technology gone awry, Shep Franco, camcorder fanatic, discovers a videotape from the distant past, documenting mad scientist Artemis Winthrop and the invention he claims can bridge dimensions. Despite warnings from Winthrop's witchy great-granddaughter, Amelia Shep, and his friends Kim, Dave, and Heather uncover the mysterious machine and restore it to working order. But the bugs haven't been completely worked out, so when a horrible glitch transforms Shep into a monstrous mutant, only Amelia's magic can exterminate the interdimensional evil. So here I have Cyclops. And here I have Danny Trejo in Pastor Shepherd. Tagline, love thy neighbor. The film is directed by Edwin Marshall, and the film says as follows on the back. Shepherd lives with his elderly, drug-addicted mother, who now faces bankruptcy after being dwindled into giving her life savings to duplicitous televangelists. Desperate to erase her debt, Shepherd turns to his bad-tempered and violent neighbor, Phil, played by Danny Trejo. And the two decide to pursue justice by finding the televangelists who destroyed his mother's life. So here we have Pastor Shepherd. Okay, okie dokie. So, here I have a couple of animated series and a movie that has to deal with Japanese anime. Here I have The Melancholy of Haruhai, Suzumiya. This is seasons 1 and 2. Then I have The Disappearance of Haruhai, Suzumiya, the movie. It is a Blu-ray DVD combo pack. And I also have the second series in this particular series of anime. This is called The Melancholy of Haruhai-chan Suzumiya. And I know there's a complete set out there that came out, but I was able to get these two particular series and the movie separately. And I don't really want to go into any detail because we ourselves on Septon Sin versus the World went and Inside Movies Galore went into detail into the movie and this and at least The Melancholy of Haruhai Suzumiya. If you want to check out our discussions on those, check out Septum Sin versus the World and Inside Movies Galore. So there's my little bout of anime. Next, I have something else from Dustin Ferguson. This is Tales from the Campfire 1 and 2 in a volume 1 of Cropsy's Creepy Cinema Classics. Gather around the campfire, creeps, because tonight is a chilling double feature of Tales from the Campfire and Tales from the Campfire 2, hosted by yours truly, starring Screen Queen Deborah Lamb of The Invisible Maniac. So there we have it. I ended up picking up these because Joe Williamson, the first time he contacted me, he sent me a copy of Tales from the Campfire 3. Well, I had not seen Tales from the Campfire 1 or 2 yet. So I picked it up to ultimately watch, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But definitely plan to. So next, I ended up picking up Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Gehul, from the studio that brought you Happy Feet. And this is directed by Zack Snyder. So, finally picked that animation up. Next, I got Land Shark, which is directed by Mark Polonia, put out by Camp Motion Pictures. When Linda Regis, Director of Development at Melco Oceanic Research, unravels a sinister plot to inject sharks with human DNA in the hope of creating a super shark super soldier, she becomes the target of a dangerous killer. Meanwhile, the mutated sharks, having discovered a way to slip past security, are busy honing their newly advanced killer instincts, both in and out of the nearby beaches. So here we have Land Shark. Next, this was a collection that I guess my fiance had at one point in time, and I decided to take it from her. And on here, this says Rescue Adventures Collection, heartwarming and inspiring stories of trust, loyalty, and adventure. So on the back here, it says it's got The Legend of Cougar Canyon from 1976, George from 1972, Night of the Wolf from 2002, Poco, Little Dog Lost, and Toby McTeague. And this is a Mill Creek Entertainment collection that was put out, so thought it was interesting. I know I've heard of The Legend of Cougar Canyon before. Next, I have Run Silent, Run Deep. This is a war film that stars Clark Gable and Burt Lancaster. The film is directed by Robert Wise, and it says as follows on the back. Rich Richardson, played by Clark Gable, is a hard-driving, dedicated submarine officer with a single-minded purpose: to seek out and smash the Japanese destroyer he believes sunk his former ship. Given a new command, Richardson drills his men to the point of mutiny as he relentlessly trains them for the battle ahead. At last, word comes of the destroyer's position, and disobeying orders, Richardson finally confronts his foe, unaware that an even greater enemy lurks nearby, one who's been targeting him for a watery grave. Co-starring Burt Lancaster as Gable's executive officer, this gripping World War II adventure thriller set a new standard for submarine pictures. Severely nail-biting tense. The New York Times, Run Silent, Run Deep is the most exciting film about the silent service ever made. So there we have Run Silent, Run Deep. Next, I have another film from Dustin Ferguson called Blood Claws. And it says this is Nature Amok collection. Colby Koch, Skylar Craig, Brianna Mitchell, and Jenny Caroline star in this, and it has a tagline saying, "You are the prey." A ravenous Black Panther escapes during a routine transport and goes on a feeding frenzy in a small, quiet Midwestern town. It's up to zookeeper Zach Ferguson to put a stop to its reign of terror, featuring killer music by heavy metal gods Dragonclaw. So, it's got Colby Koch from Amityville Toy Box, Skylar Craig from Nemesis 5, Jenny Caroline from Meat Hook Massacre 2 and 4, and Brianna Mitchell from Invitation to Die. So, yeah, Blood Claws. Next, I have a documentary called Eyes of the Mothman, which is directed by Matthew J. Pelowski, which I kind of followed him from Sub Rosa Cinema. There is... I'm hoping that there is... Here it is. Because this is this other one is also a newer pickup for me, but it is an older film. And this is called Jane Doherty Investigates. This was a psychic going out to several different places, spending the night, and basically them having supposedly experiences. It's an episodal thing that seems like it was supposed to be longer, but this is also directed by Matthew J. Pelowski, but it's on a Sub Rosa Cinema label. But the one that I was talking about, this one is a 2-disc collection, and it says, "The eyes see only what the mind is prepared to comprehend." And on the back, this is what it reads as follows. The shockingly true story, November 15th, 1966. 4 young adults traveling through the West Virginia backwoods of an abandoned TNT plant come across something unnatural. The headlights from their 57 Chevy strike what appear to be a black, lurking, lumbering, 7-foot-tall man with red eyes and wings. Before the winged man of Point Pleasant would make his departure from its menacing raid on the God-fearing souls of this minute church-going communities, 46 people would die. Tragically, and hundreds more would be left traumatized and emotionally scarred for life. With rumors adrift of a haunting Indian curse, wild stories of men in black, bridge collapses, and a history of uncanny coincidences, UFO sightings, and often alien abductions, The Eyes of the Mothman is the first feature-length documentary to delve deeper than any other program to uncover the truth behind the unsolved mystery from 43 years ago. So, here we have Eyes of the Mothman. And Jane Doherty. Let me read this as follows. Jane Doherty Investigates is the first ever series of paranormal reality programming that dares to bring you, the viewer, along with renowned psychic Jane Doherty on her real-life investigations. In this first terrifying episode, Jane visits a region in New Jersey considered to be one of the most haunted areas in the world. She is joined by 4 everyday people to act as participants in 2 unforgettable seances to be conducted in a haunted woods and at the foot of a ghost-inhabited lake. Discover the haunting truth behind the legends of murder, death, and mystery in this hotspot of paranormal activity that left our very own crew members in complete fear and our cast of seance participants in terrorizing shock and even tears. Join Jane Doherty, author, world-famous psychic, and co-star of the Learning Channel's Dead Tenants, on a journey into the unknown that you will not soon forget. So there we have Jane Doherty Investigates. All right, so next we have Ebola Rex, hosted by Malvolia, the Queen of Screams. This is directed by Dark Infinity, also known as Dustin Ferguson. Good evening, my victims. It is I, Malvolio, the Queen of Screams. Do I dare ask how your 2020 is treating you? Mine started off fairly well, and then quarantine happened. Though I am thankful for it because all you humans are sitting at home, getting all fattened up. So, when it's time for you to emerge, oh, the feast I'm going to have. Well, that's if the 5G coronavirus, quake, earthquake, and murder hornets don't get you first. And have you heard the latest? That's right, a ravenous carnivore is on the loose. So sit back, try to relax, and prepare yourself for this sick piece of celluloid that MovieWeb says is proof that Ferguson really enjoys what he is doing. This is Ebola Rex on Malvolia's Movie Matinee. Next, I also have Ebola Rex versus Murder Hornets, Injected and Infected, also hosted by Malvolia. Good evening, my victims. It is I, Malvolia, the Queen of Screams. Back in the new year, but bringing some of the same old terror that bound to make your heart thump. Just when you thought you were done with 5G zombies, Ebola Rex, Murder Hornets, and Arachnado, here we are, treated to them all together. So place your bets now on who wins, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Get ready for the chaos. Directed by Dark Infinity, also known as Dustin Ferguson. By SCS Entertainment. And I guess Jen Nangle is Malvolia. So, Ebola Rex versus Angry Hornets. Or versus Murder Hornets. Next, I have a thrill film collection that I picked up for $5 at Walmart. I thought that was actually a pretty good price for these. Though I have Escape Plan already, I did not have Escape Plan 2 and 3. So these films star Stallone, and the first one stars Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger together. So, definitely glad I picked that up. Alrighty. Next in order. Okay, so these I already had, but these I might not have. Alright. So, next I picked up In the Electric Mist with Tommy Lee Jones, John Goodman, Peter Sarsgaard, and Mary Steenburgen. No one can escape the sins of the past. And this was put out by Image Entertainment, and it was directed by Bertrand Tavernier. So, next I have I'll Take Your Dead, directed by Chad Archibald, put out by Shout Studios. or Shout Factory. Surprised I actually found this at Dollar Tree, if I remember correctly. So, Death is knocking at their door. And this says on the back, William has a simple job. He makes dead bodies disappear. Through circumstances beyond his control, his little farmhouse in the country has become a dumping ground for the casualties of the gang-related murders in the nearby city. His daughter Gloria has become used to rough-looking men dropping off corpses, and is even convinced that some of them are haunting their house. After a woman's body is dumped at the house, William begins his meticulous process when he realizes she's not actually dead. As the gang activity increases, William patches the woman up and holds her against her will until he can figure out what to do with her. But just when they begin to understand one another, the woman's would-be murderers get word that she's alive and set out to finish what they started. So there we go with I'll Take Your Dead. Next, I went to Target, and around Christmas time, I ended up picking up my favorite Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life, on Blu-ray. It's newly remastered, and so on and so forth. It's my favorite film of Christmas, if it weren't for Scrooge. And if you don't know anything about this film, then shame on you. Next, I have two anthology-like films starring Demi Moore, Sissy Spacek, and Cher. There's one question only a woman can answer in If These Walls Could Talk. If These Walls Could Talk is a powerful, intimate portrait of how times and freedoms have changed. It will shock you, it will surprise you, and no matter where you stand on the issue, it will force you to think again. A recently widowed nurse, played by Demi Moore, struggling to take control of her life in the early 50s, a mother of four, played by Sissy Spacek, overwhelmed by trying to raise a family and maintaining a career in the 70s, a young student, played by Anne Heck, making a decision with the help of one woman, Cher, that will change the course of both their lives in the 90s. These women, living in the same house at different times, share one thing in common: the decision they must come to on how to deal with an unplanned pregnancy. So, I guess this is directed by several different people. Nancy Savoca and Cher, I guess. But this was put out on HBO, as it is an HBO home video release. So is this one. This one is also a HBO film release, and this is number 2. I guess it's been directed by Jane Anderson, Martha Coolidge, and Anne Heck in the second one, If These Walls Could Talk Too. And this stars Vanessa Redgrave, Chloe Sevigny, Michelle Williams, Ellen DeGeneres, and Sharon Stone. Three couples over three different decades are bonded by the depth of their passions, their unconventional love, and a house that might offer up their stories. An elderly woman, played by Vanessa Redgrave, widowed when her companion of 50 years dies in 1961, finds herself alone and unprotected as the in-laws move in to cast her out. In 1972, a feminist co-ed, Michelle Williams, finds that sexual politics take a backseat when a boyish girl, played by Chloe Sevigny, attempts to seduce her. And in 2000, a couple, played by Ellen DeGeneres and Sharon Stone, with almost everything that two women can have, want the one thing they can't have unless something more than fate intervenes. So here we have if these walls could talk to. Next, I have a film that I have now alone. This is the official director's version of I Spit on Your Corpse, I Piss on Your Grave, directed by Eric Stanza. And it says, and this is another Sub Rosa cinema release, an older one. And I also have it on this Sub Rosa 5, is it 5 film? Yeah, 5 film set with Sadomaster, China White Syndrome, Separation Anxiety, Dead Body Man 2, Bizarre Lust of a Sexual Deviant, and I Spit on Your Corpse, I Piss on Your Grave, original cut. So that's the original cut, and I guess this is the director's cut. Whether that's the original cut, I don't know. But this set that I have it on originally is called I Spit on Your Naked Corpse. Ugh. All right. Next, I have another Dustin Ferguson film. This one is called Axed to Pieces. And it has You'll Die Screaming as the tagline. In this homage to 80s slasher films like Pieces and Edge of the Axe, a man stumbles upon an axe that was left behind in the woods. Overcome by an unseen force, he proceeds to go on a gruesome killing spree, leaving authorities and the tabloids baffled. It's up to Dustin Launch from Meat Hook Massacre 4, and Sean C. Phillips from Ghost Shark to crack the case. Next, I have Outpost: Rise of the Spatesnas. This is a film directed by Kieran Parker. I believe this might be the second film in the Outpost Nazi series. Because here is, I believe, the third one. Here's another one called Outpost Black Sun. This one, Spatesnas, is from distributed by XL Raider, so is the next one. And both of them, I guess, Black Sun was directed by Steve Barker. Rise of the Spaceniks says as followed. In the third installment of the hit Nazi zombie action franchise, discover the horrifying origins of these supernatural soldiers as they battle the most ruthless and notorious of all military special forces, the Russian Spetsnaz, in their quest for absolute power, featuring Ultimate Combat World Heavyweight Champion James the Colossus Thompson and Brian Larkin from Outpost. Rise of the Spetsnaz easily outclasses its predators. And Black Sun, the year is 1945, the closing stages of World War II, and a German scientist is working on a frightening new technology that has the power to create an immortal Nazi army. Flash forward to present day, and a NATO task force is deployed to Eastern Europe, where a sinister enemy is mercilessly killing everything in its path. But this is no ordinary foe. It is a superhuman army of Nazi stormtroopers. Defying overwhelming odds, a small band of soldiers venture deep behind enemy lines to uncover the source of this evil power and prevent the rise of the Fourth Reich. So here we have Black Sun and Rise of the Spetsnaz. Next, I have another Mark Polonia film, I believe. Wait, no. This is directed by Brett Piper. Film called Outpost Earth. Who will survive the planet of horrors? And I guess there is a Hungarian stop-motion sci-fi picture from 1960. By Mika A. Marson, or maybe that is the title of it. And I guess there's a First Men in the Moon stop-motion featurette. In a world ravaged by alien invasion, the final remnants of mankind, a horde of incredible monsters, spacemen, and a devastating fleet of alien warships, bent on wiping out the last vestiges of humanity. Adding to this special edition is the premiere episode of Brett Piper's 2-minute classics, a retelling of H.G. Wells' First Men in the Moon from 2017, plus the delightful Polish stop-motion sci-fi short Mika A. Marson, seen here for the first time on DVD. This was put out by Bayview Entertainment under their Retro Media section. Next, I have October Moon 2. November Sun. It's time to dig up a few old friends and bury some new ones. The film stars Judith O'Dea from Night of the Living Dead, Brink Stevens from Slumber Party Massacre, and Sasha Sackett. The film is directed by Jason Paul Cullum. It is the sequel to October Moon, which I also have here. Also a Jason Paul Cullum. Elliot, a shy young man, is shunned by his family, friends, and fiancé when he falls for another man, Corin. Unfortunately, Corin already has a significant other, and as Elliot finds himself rejected at every turn, he slips into paranoia and rage, determined to get what he desires most. And this is a Tempe video release, so is, well, not this one. This one is not a Tempe video. It says it's a B-Boy production. B Plus Boy production. But Tempe Video, I know that one. October Moon 2 is 2 years after a gay obsession became a murderous rage. A mother still cries out for her dead son. A best friend begs for a new companion. A jilted fiancée can't shake the gruesome image of her dead lover. They all seek answers to end their guilt, and think they've found it when two mysterious handsome men enter their lives. Soon, however, hope and peace evolve into terror and paranoia as the psychodrama enveloping them explodes into a new round of revenge and bloodshed. Here I have another Dustin Ferguson film. This time it's Angry Asian Murder Hornets, which this is also hosted by Malvolia, Queen of the Shadows. Dustin Ferguson directed this, as I said, but he also goes as Dark Infinity. So here I have Angry Asian Murder Hornets. Next, I have Tartan Videos, A World Without Thieves. I picked this up at Best Buy, or not Best Buy, Big Lots. Andy Lau's greatest film since Internal Affairs. So he's the Internal Affairs director. A World Without Thieves. Next, I have from the producer of Get Out and Us, the Blu-ray DVD combo pack of Antebellum, which I guess it stars Janelle Monáe. And it really is about a young woman who has been, I guess, it's kind of a surprise ending, but she finds out she's stuck in a Civil War enactment, reenactment that I guess goes on daily. But the film shows us as if she's on a plantation. It's very, its imagery is very intense. So, yeah. Next, I have another science fiction film called Andron. The film seems to be directed by, well, there's Francesco Cincmani, and it reads as follows. In the year 2154, a group of young men and women awake in a dark claustrophobic maze. They don't remember who they are or how they got stuck in the black labyrinth of Andron. The group must learn to decipher codes, understand the signals, and beat the tests in this mysterious and bizarre place. Out of necessity, they struggle to form a bond to survive, while the outside world watches and wagers on their fate. So here we have Andron, and it looks like the film stars Leo Howard, Gail Morgan, Harold III, Michelle Ryan, Antonia Campbell, Hughes, Skin, Danny Glover, and Alec Baldwin. So it's definitely it might be an entertaining film down the road. Another film, I guess, that stars Pierce Brosnan, Aaron Paul, Toni Collette, and Imogen Poots. A Long Way Down. The film is directed by Pascal Chamel. In this touching comedy based on the acclaimed novel by Nick Hornby, A Long Way Down centers on four strangers who decide to end it all on New Year's Eve. However, when they meet by coincidence on a London rooftop, they agree to halt their plans for 6 weeks. Along the way, they discover that even accidental, dysfunctional families make life worth living. So here we have A Long Way Down. Next, I have Matt LeBlanc and Eddie Izzard in All the Queen's Men. This is a film directed by Stefan Ruzawitzki. They have a style all their own. Lots of brave Allied soldiers went to war wearing the uniform of their country and carrying a rifle. Stephen O'Rourke went to war wearing a prim skirt, sensible shoes, and carrying a dignified but practical handbag. Humor mixes with heroics when Matt LeBlanc from Friends portrays O'Rourke, leader of a squad of misfits schooled in poise, posture, and femininity. Their mission: infiltrate the all-female Berlin factory that makes the Enigma code machine and pilfer one. Easier said than done. What with amorous enemy troops, Allied bombings, and O'Rourke falling head over high heels for a fetching resistance fighter. Heads up, shoulders back, boys. You just might help win this scrap. All the Queen's Men. Next, I have A Killer Next Door, which this is based on the story of John List, and it's directed by Andrew Jones, who killed his wife and mother and 3 children in their home in New Jersey, then disappeared without a trace. 18 years later, in a small town in Virginia, Stephanie Hancock is confined to her home, recovering from a broken leg. To pass the time, she spies on her neighbors, and after watching America's Most Wanted on TV, she begins to suspect that one of them, Bob Clark, is actually John List. With the help of her boyfriend Danny and best friend Melissa, Stephanie becomes determined to discover Clark's true identity. But the youngsters soon realize they've taken on more than they bargained for when the fugitive killer realizes he's been watched. So here we have A Killer Next Door. Next, I have another Breaking Glass film. It stars Eric Roberts, Deborah Twist, Kathy Moriarty, and James McCaffrey. It's called A Cry from Within, with a tagline saying, "A tormented soul never dies." The film is directed by Deborah Twist. After devastating miscarriage, a family trades their city lifestyle for a quiet life in the country. Jonathan, played by Eric Roberts, Cecile, played by Deborah Twist, and their 2 children, Ariel and Morgan, settle into a Long Island rental home that was vacated by a woman and her elderly mother. The family soon finds themselves at the mercy of a terrifying and violent manifestation that Ariel identifies as a young boy named Sebastian. In fear for their family, Jonathan and Cecile must unlock the secret that binds Sebastian's torment with the former occupants and the local priest. A Cry from Within. Next, I have a chorus line, which is, I believe, directed by Richard Attenborough, and I guess it says on the front here by the New York Times, a single burst of breathtaking inspiration. Michael Douglas stars as a choreographer who subjects 16 dancers to a grueling audition in this Academy Award nominated adaptation of the landmark Broadway musical, featuring Marvin Heimlich's Oscar-nominated music and Jeffrey Hornaday's Flashdance, sizzling choreography. This thrilling portrayal of life behind the velvet curtain is truly one singular sensation. After narrowing down hundreds of Broadway hopefuls, Zach, played by Douglas, leads a select group of dancers on the tryout of their lives. In an audition twist, Zach asks each performer personal and intimate questions, with results that powerfully affect not only the young performers, but the hardened stage veteran as well. So, here we have a chorus line. Next, I have a film called Abominable. It wasn't supposed to exist. This film is distributed by Uncorked Entertainment, and it is directed by Jamal Burton. I guess the film stars Katrina Matson, Amy Gordon, Robert Berlin, Justin Prince Moy, Joseph Ellis, Melissa Vega, David E. or F. Gazaris, Brandon Grimes, and Deanna Grace Congo. But a research team embarks on a journey to obtain a plant that can advance medical research by centuries. While stumbling upon clues of the previous expedition, they discover that a Yeti creature lurks within the Himalayan mountains, and it will do anything to protect its terrain. So here I have Abominable. And I think that's all that I'm going to go on about today, folks, but hopefully you enjoyed seeing this recent pickup video. Hopefully there might be something that you might want in your collection eventually one day. And I'll definitely be back to show you some more films that I've picked up. And whether or not I've watched them, I will let you know or review them. So, in any case, like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy. Oh, let me know down in the comments if you have any of these. Catch you later.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?